that the president did not make any mistake. My first question, I want to find out your position on 1D, 1F. Do you believe in that concept? How it has helped Ghana? Are you going to continue or you are going to discontinue? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my first question. Should I proceed? Or?
But you know the question is 3 in 1. When you ask a question, you allow the nominee to answer. Then you ask another question.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. That was what I wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for the question. 1D, 1F is a program for Ghanaians by the government of Ghana. It has its pluses and minuses. For the pluses, the 1D, 1F set up factories where individuals could add value to our raw materials. And these agro-producing factories started, but because of some challenges, they've not been able to do what was expected of them. One key challenge I have been briefed from the Ministry of Trade is the fact that these factories lack raw materials. And we know that one big challenge in the agro-processing industry is lack of raw materials. So these companies have not proceeded the way the government intentioned it to be. Again, even though government supported them with some inputs, they lack capital. And because of lack of access to capital, they've not been able to do their work as expected of them. And if you look at the other 1D, 1F companies that signed on to the program, their major challenge is the fact that you recall, Honorable Chair, that government capped their interest rate at 20%. And government promised to pay 10% for them, which was a very good program. But somewhere along the line, the interest rate shot to 35%. So now the problem the companies have is who pays the difference of 15%, because they have already sold their products calculated at an interest of 10%. And one thing government has also not been able to do is to pay the extra 10% that it promised these manufacturers. They also have the issue of raw materials, and we know that issue of raw material availability did not start today. It's been there for long, and it has worried our industry. That is why our industries have not grown to the levels we want. So these are the challenges of the 1D, 1F, but there is always a solution to problems. It is good that it has started. Now that we know the challenges, how are we going to solve it going forward? I see the solution in the 24-hour economy. Because, Honorable Chair, in the 24-hour economy, businesses are going to receive incentives. In the 24-hour economy, agribusiness is going to play a key role. And in the agribusiness role, we are going to do commercial contract farming. The commercial contract farming is going to solve the raw materials problem to a very large extent. In so doing, these factories that have signed on the 1D, 1F, I'm sure will sign on the 24-hour economy and get a benefit of the raw material availability. They'll get the benefit of the tax holidays. They'll get the benefit of the stimulus packages they will get. And I think that it is Ghana. These industries are not political. They are looking for what a country can do for them. What the NPP did for them, they have taken it. What the NDC will add to them will make them even better. So I think that the implementation of the 24-hour economy will solve most of these problems that the 1D, 1F programs suffered. And at the end of the day, Ghana will be better for it. Thank you.
Chairman, I have a follow-up question with respect to what our honorable member has just presented. Chairman, honorable member nominee has stated a couple of challenges. One, some 10%, if I heard her right, and other 15% that have been a challenge or have been challenges to 1D, 1F actors. And then she's saying that it will take the 24-hour economy to address those challenges.
Honorable Stephen Amwa.
So the question following up
Very
is
well,
that
very well. Ask your question.
is that twofold. What will be the percentage of 24-hour economy to our GDP under your government? And how much have you earmarked to deal with the 15 and the 10% in terms of nominal values? Thank you very much, Chairman.
Very well. I will allow the nominee to answer the question, but I will treat it as a substantive question. Thank you very much. Proceed to answer.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the solution to the difference between the cap rate and the 15% will be to renegotiate these loans. Because as a lawyer, I've had the opportunity to renegotiate loans. Even though they agree on a certain percentage, the law can go bad for certain reasons and it will be renegotiated. So I think we need to renegotiate those loans. Again, I have instructions to work closely with the Minister for Finance to see what package will be available for these industry players so that they will be able to contribute positively to our GDP. I may not be able to give you the exact percentage of our GDP that the contribution will be, but I hope that it will be substantial. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. My second question, substantive question, has got something to do with trade balance. 2016, Ghana's trade balance was negative 2.3. As of the end of last year, which is the record we have, it has moved to 4.6%. We know our challenges are profoundly stemming from the fact that we have issues with import and export. And these are core areas when it comes to trade ecosystem. What do you have in place for Ghanaians to deal with these export-import issues where Ghana has been seen as import-driven economy? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the beautiful question. In order to improve our trade balance, we have to work on the production of raw materials in this country. I have indicated that under the agribusiness, we are going to do contract commercial farming, and it's going to make available raw materials in Ghana. If we get raw materials in Ghana, two things will happen. Firstly, our importation of the raw materials will reduce, and we know what happens to our trade balance when we are importing more. Importing less. And so, when we have raw materials in Ghana and we import less, it will be good for us. Two, the raw materials coming into this country are what give us the problem with our foreign exchange. So that one also be catered for. Once we have the raw materials in the country, the essence is value addition. So when we add value to our raw materials, it will also decrease the number of the finished product that we import. So the import will reduce in two folds. The import of raw materials will decrease. The import of the finished product will also decrease because we'll be having them in country. With the 24-hour economy again, more production will happen and our exports will improve. If we are exporting more, it shows that we are getting more foreign exchange. Again, we have these are in respect of non-traditional exports. We also be looking at adding value to our traditional exports like cocoa and gold, because since time immemorial, we've been exporting our raw beans. With agri-processing, we can process our gold in two folds, semi-processed and then final process. We can have the semi-processed materials by, for example, if you have cocoa, adding value to make it powder, exporting it for same to be used for chocolate or drinks. We can also add value to a finished product like chocolate. And so if we are now adding value to our traditional exports in addition to our non-traditional exports, you know what will happen to our export numbers. That is how I seek to improve our trade balance. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my next question is not three. It's my last one, please. Mr. Chairman, I want the honorable nominee.
Honorable Stephen Amwa, remember you have a follow-up question. One follow-up question.
No, what it means is that you have a follow-up question on each question. Also, I can ask.
Do you have a follow-up on this?
Chairman, honestly, she answered the question very well.
Very well. So your last question.
Yes. We all know that one of the factors confronting Ghanaian businesses, apart from the fact that we have, as described by experts, that we have weak entrepreneurial ecosystems, is the fact that Ghanaians as entrepreneurs find it very difficult to compete globally. I mean, let's be very honest. They always complain about Chinese, Indians, and co. taking over businesses and even going to retailing, which is against the law. And we all always concentrate on the systematic risk factors, being the macroeconomic risk factors and also capital. But I think there's an issue with company-specific risk factors being unsystematic. What is this factor? What does it entail? And what will you do when we are talking about companies or entrepreneurs-specific risk factors in this country, apart from capital that they need? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for that question. Some of the company risk factors go to capacity. Most of them lack capacity. And so when I'm giving the nod, I will ensure that we build their capacity in this area, and this will go a long way. Even though you have mentioned access to finance, we know that this is very key. And so I'll be dealing with the Minister for Finance to see how we are able to make available finance for these companies to do their businesses and for the business environment to thrive. Because, you know, as a government, if you do all these things, it looks like you are helping the entrepreneurs. But at the end of the day, you are creating jobs and you are stabilizing your city and you're having a strong economy. So I think that this should be dealt with. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Chairman, thank you. I think I'm okay. At this point, I can only value all the best. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor to Honorable Befi.
Thank you very much, our wife. Thank you very much. Hey, congratulations. Thank you very much. The Chairman, the concept of free zones has come to stay. I guess you know about it. And Ghana's practice of free zones has been extremely different from what happens in the whole worldwide. We are practicing the two-tier system of free zones where we practice the enclave system and the single factory system. This has not been good for the country over the period because Ghana is losing a lot. How best can you work with the Free Zones Authority to streamline the free zone system so that we operate only the enclave system, which happens everywhere in the world? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Free zones is the way to go if you are interested in our export promotion. And so I would do well to work closely with the Free Zones Authority to help them work at their laws. We use legal frameworks for these things to happen. And so if you have given the opportunity for single factory operation and the enclave is the way to go, our legal framework should be strict and good enough to take care of all these things. So I'll be working closely with the authority to ensure that we have the proper legal framework for this to thrive. Thank you.
So on this note, it is clearly, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that you know that the free zones concept and the law, Act 504/1985, has become very outmoded. I mean, it's not consistent with what happens in the whole worldwide free zones ecosystem. So how best will you also help in amending the laws of free zones and or trying to review the laws to make it very relevant to modern day free zones and special economic zone system? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think my answer can be found in the previous answer I gave. Law is dynamic. Things change, times change. And so you need to change your law to reflect the current conditions of a country. And it's tried learning that this law is outmoded. So I'll work closely with the Free Zones Authority and Parliament to ensure that we promulgate a law or we amend this law to suit the needs of our time. Thank you.
Any further question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Elizabeth Ofusojare, you are in the House.
Honorable
Mrs. Ofusojare, Mrs. Very important, our wife. She's the wife of Kufuridia, so our wife. Very important. So you were in the House when the former Minister of Trade and Industry submitted a proposal on import restrictions on 22 different commodities to the House. The essence was to try as much as possible to help to streamline the systems. I mean, what we operate in Ghana, so that we want to restrict unnecessary importations of certain things that can easily be manufactured in Ghana. What is your opinion on limiting the importation of certain commodities to reduce the outflow of foreign exchange?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I know this has come about as a result of stakeholder consultation, as a result of evidence of practice. If I get the opportunity and I go to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry, I'll also have the benefit of the reasons why these commodities have been listed. And then I should be able to give an informed opinion after I've looked at the situation as it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Atta Mills.
Mr. Chair, please, it's left my last question. So,
please, this is the third question.
No, this is the
if you have
it was a follow-up,
if you have a follow-up, the first question was a substantive question.
Yes.
The second question was on the law.
Yeah.
And then the third question that you have asked is the proposal.
No, second question on the free zones was a follow-up.
Go ahead and ask.
So this is the last question, sir. Thanks so very much. Honorable Mrs. Ofusojare, our wife. Yes, very, very proud. The concept of the African Continental Free Trade Area has come to stay. It's like social media. Nobody can do anything about it. The interesting thing is that out of the 55 countries in Africa, 54 countries have accepted that agreement. And we believe that there's a need for us to push the agenda of intra-African trade. What strategies will you use to improve intra-African trade, taking into consideration the favorable conditions created by the African Continental Free Trade Area? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the question of AFTA. Fortunately, the headquarters of AFTA is in Ghana. So it is right that we must take opportunity and then do business. We need a lot of integration to do. Economic integration, trade integration, security integration, and in certain cases, we have to synchronize our laws to make the trading more interesting. And you know that if I want to pick each one and answer, it will take forever. But the fact of mentioning these will show you that I know exactly what it is. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on this note, I want to formally, on behalf of Kufuridia, congratulate you in advance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Honorable Samuel Atta Mills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Madam Nominee, I know you do an awesome job. I have worked under you and the Ministry of Tourism, and I know you do very, very well. As the Member of Parliament for Komenda, Edina Iguafo Abrim, I want to ask you about Komenda Sugar Factory. The last government tried to make it into a white elephant. What has been your brief on Komenda Sugar Factory? and what is the way forward?
Thank you very much. I've had a quick
For
walk.
nominee, you can proceed to answer the question, but take away the white elephant aspect of it.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. White elephant is duly taken away. I have walked quickly through the ministry by a briefing I received about Komenda Sugar Factory. I've been told that as we speak, it is not operational. And one of the major challenges the factory has suffered was the lack of raw material to feed that industry and some missing parts. I've also been told that monies were released to solve these problems. And the total health of the factory should be done after an evaluation. And so I will work to ensure that we know the actual health of the factory. But it's obvious that we need that factory to work for the benefit of Ghanaians, because we are importing about $500,000 worth of sugar into this country. And so once I take office, I will work together with the ministry to ensure that we assess the health of the factory and do whatever it takes to put the factory on stream by whatever means to ensure that Ghana benefits from that monumental project.
Madam, how long do you foresee that it may take for us to operationalize this factory? I have paid a visit to the place. Everything is intact, and we are ready to see it operational. So what is the timeline that you would give to the good people of Komenda, Edina, Eguafo, Abrem?
Thank you very much for the question. The answer is expeditious timeline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think I have all the answers that I need. Thank you. And Madam, you do an excellent job.
Thank you very much. It's now the time for Honorable Alassane Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
Listening to you shows you will do a marvelous job at the ministry, helping His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to reset the agenda. My question is about the resetting agenda. In this, according to the NDC manifesto, what is your take on the amendment of the 2020 Act 1014 in order to encourage and promote businesses at Kokumpe, Kumasi Magazine, Abosorkai, and among others, which collapsed under the elsewhere Nana Akufo-Addo administration? Thank you. Act 2020, and which was amended. Customs Amendment Act. Oh, no, I have it. It's stated. Oh, it's not.
Hello, order. Please, if you are going to refer to a law, refer to the law well. Please, answer the question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I am excited that I know the law he's referring to. I think it's that portion that deals with the importation of scrapped cars. In the 120-day manifesto of the NDC, that law will be reviewed to improve the businesses of the areas you've mentioned, Kokompe, Magazine, and Abosokai. This will be done with climate change in mind. It will be done with the new automobile industry also in mind. And so a quick look at all these interests will guide us into what will go into the amendment. Thank you.
Any further question?
Chairman, I'm done. I wish her well.
I will then give the floor to Honorable Ritana Odole.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I want to congratulate my GHOne student. I call her my GHOne student, and she's a very fast learner. Congratulations on your nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Honorable nominee, I want to find out, as you are going to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, what are some of the plans you would have for women in the informal sector, as well as persons with disability in these sectors, to enable them to also have opportunities in this industry?
Thank you very much for this question, Honorable Chair. Fortunately, the Parliament of Ghana has passed the Affirmative Action Law. That's the Affirmative Action Act, Act 1121, 2024. The whole essence of the law, if I take you with the greatest respect to Section 1, with your kind permission, I read. The object of this act is to ensure the attainment of gender equity in the political, social, economic, educational, and cultural spheres of the society. With your kind permission, I move to 3. The government will promote policies and programs to redress the political, economic, and educational gender imbalance in the public and private sectors. It is the dream of Excellency John Dramani Mahama to implement the Affirmative Action Act. There is going to be a policy on women at the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry. The whole idea is to promote women to upscale what they do in the industry so that we can find a lot of women at the top of industry. It is tried learning that women have not gone that high. And so there will be clear-cut policies to ensure that this happens. 1, we will deal with access to capital. 2, we will deal with mentoring. The fact that we say there are not too many women at the top means that there are some there anyway. So there will be a mentoring program that allows them to mentor young entrepreneurs to come up and also scale up. There will also be incentives for industry that have a lot of women or women-led industry. Fortunately, we have the Women Bank coming up. This is also going to cushion women. The Women's Bank basically is a bank that is set up to help women. The beauty of the bank is that only women work in that bank. I keep on saying, to wait. If somebody will beat you to cry, it will not be the same way as you have decided to cry. Women know women's problem. And so all Women's Bank, we know our problems, we know our strength, we know our weaknesses, we know how far we hold our hands and go together. So the implementation of the Women's Bank program will also help women in industry to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, you are entitled to a follow-up question.
Honorable nominee, I didn't hear you touch on the persons with disability. What form of support are they going to get through the informal sector? There are a number of them that I work with, and they are into production of different kinds of things, but they do not have support. So can we hear something on that? Thank you.
The assurance is that they are part of the vulnerable group, and there will be policies to bring them up to speed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. I wish to congratulate you once again, and I'm rest assured and sure that you are capable and able to deliver in the ministry that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is appointing you to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the time of Honorable Kwadwo Oppong Nkrumah.
Chairman, thank you. I would like to, on behalf of Pope John Senior High School, congratulate the nominee for some specific reasons. Mr. Ofuswe-Jare will be pleased to know this. Chairman, I have just a few questions. My first is on Act 680, the Venture Capital Trust Fund Act, passed in 2004. And the objective of that act is to create a vehicle that the state can use to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem. From about 2009 to even 2024, both the MPP and the NDC have departed from the use of the Venture Capital Trust Fund as a mainstream vehicle and have resorted to other ad hoc vehicles. My question, are you minded to depart from this recent approach and go back to the use of the Venture Capital Trust Fund? And if so, what will you do differently to ensure that it gets the kind of resources required so that it can provide the capital and technical assistance to entrepreneurial? Are you minded to depart from this recent approach and go back to the use of the Venture Capital Trust Fund? And if so, what will you do differently to ensure that it gets the kind of resources required so that it can provide the capital and technical assistance to entrepreneurial ecosystem in this country?
Thank you very much for your question, Honorable Chair. Venture capital, as you have stated, is a trust fund that aids in, that helps in the production of capital to promote small, medium-scale enterprises. It is good, it is still in our law to use them to fund small and medium-scale enterprises. So I think that I'll have a discussion with the Minister for Finance so that a good budget is allotted to the venture capital to enable us to do what it's supposed to do. All the same, other agencies have come up for the funding, and I don't think that we have to stop them for the venture capital to thrive. I'm sure some of them can coexist, and it will mean more funding for these projects. Because interestingly, some of these projects are receiving grants from external donors, and so it's okay to keep them. It's fine to resource venture capital so that we get a lot of diverse source of funding to take care of the agencies.
Chairman, I have a follow-up to that question. The operators in the private equity and the venture capital space argue that they have challenges with getting good pipelines because the average Ghanaian entrepreneur sometimes doesn't want to come into that space. And then they've also got challenges with capacity. Do you have in mind any strategies to help deal with these challenges within that private equity and venture capital space?
I'm excited that your answer is even in your question. They lack capacity building. I have stated in my previous answers that
capacity with the non-traditional export space. The non-traditional export space is fast growing. It's becoming a major employer within the export space, averaging about 3.1 billion I think in the last about 7 years or so. Do you have any strategies in mind to do better than this 3.1 billion average within the non-traditional export space, at least within the next 4 years?
Thank you very much. There is certainly policies to ensure that we do better than this, because that is the advantage we have as a country. Our agriculture is great, and the business side must yield the positive results that we are looking for. It is obvious that most of these companies doing the exports are doing one shift. The 24-hour economy seeks to do one industry, 3 shifts, 3 people. So I can see that with the availability of raw material by our production, we are even going to produce more and export more and increase on this number, because we've done it before. If they are doing 3.1 billion and we are doing 3 times this, I know it will progress steadily. It's not going to happen the next day. The 3 shifts will not happen tomorrow. It will happen eventually. And so when the 3 shift is at full capacity, we are looking at 3 times what we are doing. Or conservatively, let's say we are looking at 2.5 times what we are doing. So if you are able to do the projects, which I'm sure we will do, because I'm soon, Honorable Chair, going to launch the Feed the Industry program. That is going to make sure that we produce more raw materials, availability of same in town, to enable us feed the industries so that we can do better than what we have currently. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. A quick follow-up on this one.
Very well. So let me ask the nominee. You said you will soon be launching a program. That is based on the assumption that you are approved.
Exactly, Honorable Chair. In the likely event that I'm approved, I'll launch this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So go ahead with your supplementary.
Yeah, Chairman, my follow-up question is to deal with the demand side of the non-traditional export question. If the 24-hour economy is successful, it will deal with the supply side. Do you have any ideas to stimulate demand some more on the non-traditional export side within the international markets?
Extremely grateful for this question, Honorable Chair. Once we produce more, the whole idea is to export. Fortunately for us as a country, there are already trade agreements. I think I've been asked a question on AFTA. There is also a trade agreement between the UK and us, a trade agreement between the EU and us. We are going to leverage on these trade agreements to promote our we have the needed markets for what we produce, even as we do the 24-hour economy. Certainly, the whole idea of providing jobs to our teeming unemployed youth is this project. And so, as we produce, we are looking for markets, leveraging on the agreement that we have to ensure that our products are exported also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable, you have exhausted your questions. I will give the floor to Kofi Mafo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first question to the nominee. I want us to go back to 1D, 1F. And you mentioned capacity building. And then you mentioned that raw materials are part of the reason why 1D, 1F is not shining. I want to find out from you this aspect of exemption that has been back and forth, about 45 companies looking for exemption within the 1D, 1F. Since 2021, I want to find out if you are giving the nod, what are you going to do about this 1DF exemption?
Thank you very much for that question. I have been briefed that there were a few challenges with the exemptions. Among other things, some of the product that found itself on the exemption list did not qualify. And so when it came up, there was issue of transparency and all of that. When I get the nod, I will look at all of that and come back to Parliament based on what I have seen, what has been corrected, what needs to be done, and I can assure you that the right thing will be done, and the correct things must be done. If we have exemption for A, it must be A and A alone, so that it does not affect our budget negatively. But once we have promised the exemption on a product, I think it is fair and right that we give same. I thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my follow-up. I want to ask this question, and the question is, you indicated that raw materials has been a problem for not only 1D, 1F, but for export manufacturing. So I want to find out from you, when they came in for the exemption, when these companies came in for the exemption, raw materials were taken out completely. But here we are, we lack the raw material to start production. What are you going to do with raw material exemption for this 1D, 1F program?
For starters, I've stated that the production of raw materials is key in this country. That gives us lasting solution, and it gives us the advantage of a value chain in our production. We know that if you are even importing more of these raw materials, we are not taking the benefit of the value chain in our production. We need to create jobs with these production of raw materials, and I indicated that when I'm giving the nod, I'll launch the Feed the Industry project to ensure that we have these raw materials. When I go into the ministry, I will look at the arguments that have been made, the calculations that have been made, do consultation, then I'll be able to come up as a lead in a team, what best we can do with the subsidies or the exemption on raw materials. But from here, without any argument, without what happens to work. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, per your manifesto, NDC manifesto, you propose incentives to support the private sector. That is part of your manifesto. Fortunately, you are going to be the trade minister, and the Akufo-Addo government brought in Ghana Enterprises Agency, which is seeking to assist micro, small, and medium enterprises, and then also look at gender issue as well, youth, women, and then person with disability. I want to find out from you, what are you going to do? Are you going to improve on the existing Ghana Enterprises Agency that has been able to sustain over thousands of people within the period that it was formed? Are you going to continue with the program, or you have a special initiative for small, medium enterprises?
Thank you very much. The LI for GE, LI 2470, even deals with micro. And so I think it is a law for Ghana. It's an institution in Ghana. And all we can do is to improve. I don't see anything wrong with it as I sit here. But anything that is being done can be done well, as you have said. And so, for starters, it's a law. It's not the LICA is not being repealed. And so I think that we can continue on that tangent. But you see, it was originally MBSSI. So GA, if you ask me, it's more like a rebranded MBSSI to do good. So it is not something new for us to cancel it. It's been rebranded to do more than MBSSI was doing. And I think that it is fair for us to also improve on this so that we are moving forward as a country. It is for Ghana, and Ghana must always win. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a follow-up on this?
Yes, on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, I've done all. Yeah. Honorable nominee, talking about Ghana Enterprises Agencies and the umbrellas that is controlling, I want to find out from you exactly what do you have in mind when we're talking about enterprises agencies, we're talking about micro, small, and medium enterprises. That is the bedrock of our export position. What exactly do you have for micro, small, and medium enterprises?
Thank you very much for realizing that it's umbrella that is controlling it. Please, your answer to the question.
I'll try and answer your question as much as I understand. If you say, what do I have in mind by talking about micro, small, medium scale industries, it's already decided by law. The LI 2470 states what enterprise is micro, what is small, what is medium. It uses the number of staff you have and the capital you have. So if you are talking about micro, you are dealing with about 1 to 3 staff, an amount of 150,000 to I think 3 million. Then small scale is from 3 to I think 30. The law is here. We will do well to resource persons who fall under various categories. And at the end of the day, women again. Because of the affirmative action, we must be conscious of training more women. We must be conscious of giving access to more women in the space of the economy. And so we'll continue to do their mandate and even do it better. Still thinking about the vulnerable, like the disability, people with disability, to work well with them. Thank you.
Thank you very
one.
much.
No,
Please, you
one.
are not entitled to. You said this is your supplementary, last supplementary question. So please, I'll give the floor to Honorable Muhammad Shaibu.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Council, congratulations.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
In recent times, we saw the exit of blue chip companies from our market. Painfully, they didn't go far. They were just hanging around our neighbors, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo. Aside the high interest rates and the falling fortunes of the city, there are also business bottlenecks and bureaucracies. The NDC manifesto has stated clearly that we will reduce bureaucracies, promote transparency, simplify administrative and regulatory processes, and above all, uphold the rule of law in business. For me, these are key aspects of promoting business, a clean business environment. How would you help the government of the NDC to implement this, to promote business? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is correct that cost of doing business in Ghana is high. Cost of production is equally high. And so, under a 24-hour economy policy, the government is going to do some interesting things that reduces the cost of doing business and cost of production. Government will be looking at time of use metering, because industry players have complained about the cost of electricity. And with the 24-hour economy, the time you use electricity will state how much you will pay. If you are using electricity in the evening, you are paying less. If you put all together, you are reducing the cost of your electricity and water. And so, cost of production will come down. Again, with the 24-hour economy, you'll be producing more. And you know, the more you produce, the cheaper it is. As we speak now, most industries are running one shift. And even in the one shift, they are not able to produce to full capacity. With the availability of...
Honourable members, order. Let's listen to the nominee in silence.
With the availability of raw materials will be able to feed our industries. These companies live because they have to import raw materials. And so if we put all these things together, in addition to the fact that as for the rule of law, is synonymous to Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Perfect. And in this case, I'm stating his attributes. It is not in comparison with anybody. 100 people can be good. He's good, and he's synonymous to the rule of law. So you see, anytime he's in power, you can go to bed with the issues of rule of law. Transparency is going to happen. At the Ministry of Trade, there will be a desk for facilitation so that people who want to do business will get their trade issues facilitated easily. I think all these put together, trade will boom. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Yes, just one more. Honorable Chairman, and thanks for indulging me, Chairman. Council, I just want to pick up on where my good friend from Komenda ended. And growing up, you would hear Operation Feed Yourself. You hear eat what you grow and grow what you eat. In recent times, we've had our import bill of sugar and other food items rising so high. Again, the NDC manifesto clearly stipulates an agenda of made in Ghana. And for me, this is one surest way of curtailing some imports to the system. How would you help promote the made in Ghana agenda? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we eat what we grow, our imports will come down. And so if a lot of people were eating yam like I do, the importation of rice will come to a barest minimum. If they enjoy plantain fufu like I do, then the importation of other products will come down. And so we are going to encourage ourselves to eat what we grow. You've also spoken about the promotion of made in Ghana goods. I'm excited to tell you that when I was Ghana's Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, I did this big time. I promoted made in Ghana goods in Ghana and out of Ghana. Anytime we did our fairs, I invited some industry players to come with me to showcase what we have as a country. I'll even do it better and on a larger scale when I'm giving the nod to become Ghana's Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. But I'll also encourage Ghanaians to wear what we produce, to patronize made in Ghana goods. If that happens, again, our importation of some of these foreign things will be minimal. I thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I wish the nominee success. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Deputy Whip.
Congratulations, Leonard.
Thank you, colleague.
I think your composure has been very good so far. I just want to ask, there is a spare parts dealer in my constituency. It's popularly known as Anson 1. He has Anson 1. He has few complaints, one of which is high port charges, high cost of spare parts, and he also talks about shipping cost. And that actually culminates into people unable to purchase spare parts and leading to accidents because they are unable to replace some of these spare parts. How do you intend to address this problem?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, on your behalf, to Anson 1 and people in his trade, I will act as an intermediary between the private sector in trade and the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transport, to work all these things out. Because no ministry is a stand-alone ministry. In this respect, the Ministry of Finance is key, and the Ministry of Transport is also key. So working together, we hope to come up with things that mitigate their cost and make business interesting for them. I thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a follow-up. Mr. Chair, just a follow-up. So do you, in particular, have some arrangements in mind for spare parts delays in Abosokai and what have you?
It is part of our 120-day delivery, where we talk of scrap vehicles and how to work on the law vis-a-vis our climate change responsibilities and our new automobile industry. And then, fortunately, there are industries that are coming up that produce some of these spare parts in Ghana. We also encourage them, give them what it takes for them to also come up with some of these parts locally. Thank you.
Your second question.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. So my second question is, given the significance of the African Continental Free Trade Area, how do you plan to maximize Ghana's position within the regional trade bloc to boost intra-Africa trade? And what specific actions will you take to support the Ghanaian businesses in taking advantage of the opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area, particularly in the context of improving trade relations with neighboring countries?
Thank you very much. 1.4 billion people, a total GDP of 3 trillion. It is excellent that we leverage on AFTA. Because if we are able to do this, we are going to improve our various economies. I hope to do this by capacity building. The Honorable Speaker asked, we had an informal discussion previously about AFTA.
Honorable nominee, His Honorable Stephen Amwa.
Hey, I think her own parents call him Sticker. He said it. So Honorable Stephen Amwa, sorry. Dr. Stephen Amwa, popularly known as Sticker.
Very well.
Yes. We had a discussion about AFTA. Honorable Chair, some of the things that we need to do to take advantage of AFTA is capacity building. Most of our companies don't even have capacity to do this. Two, is to synchronize some of our laws. You know that even though we say free movement of goods and services, some countries have banned the importation of a product that you want to export. And so we need to work on our security, we need to work on our economies, we need to work on our laws to take advantage of this. And since the headquarters is in Ghana, I would take an interest in working with these countries on diplomatic lines to ensure that there is free movement of these goods and services indeed, so that we can take advantage. In respect of the 24-hour economy, our business is to take advantage of AFTA and other trade agreements so that we can export most of the things that we produce. And so I think that these are some of the measures that we'll put in place to ensure that we benefit from AFTA.
Thank you very much. Your last question.
Thank you, Chair. So a friend tells me the 24-hour economy is abstract. And we are also considering issues of synergizing industrialization and the trade sector. And then looking at the one district, one factory initiative, how do you intend to bring some value addition to all of this?
Thank you very much. There are low-hanging fruits with 24-hour economy. And I'll use my constituency as an example. Techiman North. We have a company called Oberpark. It is into the business of adding value to onions, ginger, tomato, and what have you. We also have Tubodom. We have Arowa. where we produce a lot of tomato and pepper. These are rain-fed agriculture practices. Again, they are not into commercial contract farming. Can you imagine that under the 24-hour economy, when you give me the nod and I launch the Feed the Industry program, and we are able to resource farmers within this enclave to engage in commercial contract farming in tomato and pepper, Oberpark will automatically do a 24-hour shift. One job, 3 people, 3 shifts. It will happen because there will be availability of onions, so much so that one shift cannot work on it. You need more shifts to do it. So you see how practical this is. And it will create a lot of jobs in that locality. Komenda has a lot of tomatoes. If we engage them to enter into commercial contract farming, they will be able to feed Oberpark. And then the 3 shifts will happen in earnest with availability of raw materials. So this is a practical policy, easy to execute, and we are going to do exactly that.
Thank you very much. You have exhausted your 3 questions, but you want to follow up on the 3rd one in relation to 24-hour economy. Please do.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you very much for your goodness. Mr. Chair, just to find out in very plain terms, what does it mean to say we have a 24-hour economy?
Thank you very much. I would say that relative to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry, we will have a 24-hour economy when our industries are producing around the clock. And we've said that that will happen in 3 shifts. And so, if you have Oberpark and other companies, manufacturing companies, working 3 shifts, they'll be working within the 24-hour economy. That is in terms of the ministry that I've been nominated to head. In other economies also, or in other areas like banking, like other government institutions, they can do more than a shift. The passports, the DVLA, they are all companies that can, or they are all agencies that can do the 24-hour economy by working more than 1 shift. And so basically, the 24-hour economy is when we are all working and we are working around the clock. That is jobs that can be done around the clock. It doesn't mean that if you are a tomato farmer, you should be working 24 hours in the bush in the night where there are no lights. But it will happen to where you can work 3 times. It will happen at where you can work 3 shifts. And so we say 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of... Yes.
Okay. Just wish you well, and I pray everything goes well for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's now the turn of Honorable Patrick Yaobwama.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and let me congratulate my sister on her appointment. But I have 3 very difficult questions for her. Let's see how she deals with them. That's how come I'm packing my stuff well, so I can have a very close look at her. Lizzie, we want to increase government revenue, and the best way to do that is to increase our exports, which will go a long way to have a stronger or better effect on our currency. You know, our CD has been performing not too well on the international market. The trade figures between Ghana and the EU, and even Ghana, America, and other trade partners not been doing so well. There was a 3% dip in our revenues between the EU and Ghana. It was reported by the outgone minister, Honorable K.T. Amon, between when he addressed the Ghana EU delegation in Ghana. Most of the issues they raised were on standardization, child labor issues, the use of chemicals, some unapproved chemicals in the cultivation of some of our crops, and what have you, I know. What are some of the things we are going to do to reverse these challenges, to ensure that we derive utmost revenues from our exports, and to protect our exporters from being banned on the EU and American markets? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Honorable Chair. Yes, it is right that we need to do the right things to have access to international markets. And so there will be conscious efforts with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that approved chemicals are used, because at the end of the day, it will be detected. And if you work so hard and your produce and products do not land at the international market as you intend, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. And so we work on the approved chemicals so that at the end of the day, we will qualify for the standards. Child labor issues must also be addressed through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. And so I'll be working closely with the Minister for Gender and Social Protection and Children and Social Protection to ensure that the issue of child labor is addressed. As for standardization, we need to up our game as a country. Sometimes, lack of knowledge. And so if we do capacity building, we should be able to fall within the standards. When all these things are done right, our exports will go up, the intended revenues will be received, and then at the end of the day, we will have a stabilized economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman, I don't have a follow-up question on that. I'll go straight to my second question on cross-border trade challenges. Most of our traders go to Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina, and the Sahelian belts to bring in goods onto our markets, some from China and the rest of the world. We all know of under-declarations at the ports and other entry points. You can blame the politician, you can blame government officials, high-ranking ones and low-ranking officials, traders, the security agencies. We are all culpable. Minister of Trade, how do you intend collaborating with the security agencies to stem this very bad practice that I just mentioned? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Certainly, it will not only be with the law enforcement agencies, it will also be with the Ministry of Finance. I am not an economist, but I know that when we are charged reasonable taxes, people pay. Not everybody is interested in evading tax, but if it becomes burdensome, then there is the attractiveness to evade it. So I think that there should be a national dialogue on our taxation so that many more people will pay. I am sure if the taxes are not that exorbitant and all of them pay, we may get more than we are collecting. So a lot of things has to go in to ensure that people declare exactly what they are bringing into the country, pay the right fees, and it will be much more easier if the taxes are not exorbitant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't have a follow-up question on that one too, but a very last question, and I'll congratulate my sister. Lizzie, the Exim Bank was set up under the NDC. Roxanne, do you know the question? You are not a member of the committee. The main challenge of the Ministry of Trade today is their low financial support. Since 2014, when EDAF was converted to the Exim Bank, the ministry relied on their share of 1% from the inspection companies. It was not forthcoming. West Blue came in because of tussles between ministers of trade and finance. It was moved to Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Trade ought to hire the best technocrats to write the best proposals and have the right dealings with our multilateral and bilateral partners. How are you going to reverse this trend to ensure that you get the best of sources in terms of personnel and even cash from the Ministry of Finance to hire the best to assist you achieve all the laudable objectives under your manifesto, printed in green? Thank you. Congratulations. I'm not going to talk about the Green Book.
Well, instead of a tussle between the ministers of trade and finance, mine will be collaboration between myself and the Minister for Finance. I'm sure in so doing, we'll get all what it takes to implement our manifesto for Ghanaians. I thank you.
Chairman, we'll see what we can do. And I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Roxanne Nelson Eche Dafamopo.
I'm a bona fide member. Chairman, thank you very much. Oh, that's opposition attack. You know, opposition attack.
Hold on. Speaker, do you know the capacity in which you ask your questions? Please, Honorable Roxanne, proceed.
Chairman, thank you very much. Auntie Lizzie, you are welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, I know your abilities, and I know that this particular ministry, where the president saw it fit to add agribusiness, you will deliver.
I thank you.
You will deliver. I have 3 issues. I've been associated with the Trade and Tourism Committee for some time, and I understand the issues. 1, in respect of the Ghana Standards Authority, in Act 1078, and all the allies that we passed for them, including the National Quality Policy, as well as the what we call the Product Certification Guidelines. There's no provision that mandates the GSA to extend the shelf life of products. And yet, GSA in recent times has the penchant for extending the shelf life of products that clearly have expired. to the extent that the Auditor General has taken some of these matters up and reported on them. It's a breach of 1078. What steps will you take as the sector minister to ensure that GSA as a regulator does not indulge in such conduct? Accept 1078. Please, 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 please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ghana Standards Authority is there to ensure that we abide by standards. It would be ironical for them to be flouting the rules of standards. I have not seen the report, but I'm sure when I'm giving the nod and I assume work at the ministry, I will take note of this dealing and ensure that no illegality is condoned in any of the agencies that will be under me. Thank you.
Any further question?
Brilliant. Chairman, at it so. My other concern is in respect of reports regarding dwindling revenue mobilization efforts at our ports and across our land borders in respect of the use of ICOMs. It's on record that from 2003, when the then system that was in place, the GHOne system, in 2003, GHOne made 249 million. In 2004, it did 603 million. In 2011, it did 3.7 billion. In 2012, it did 4.7 billion. 2015, it did 9.7 billion. 2018, it did 16.3 billion. But since it got replaced, the performance of the ICOMs, the new system that has been installed, has downsized in terms of performance and revenue generation. As the sector minister, and in consultation with the minister responsible for finance, will you consider reviewing this policy and to reinstate GHOne as it is?
Thank you very much for the question. It is obvious that I've not gone to the ministry yet. Again, it is also obvious that we don't know the reason for the dwindling numbers. There is nothing at this point to tell me the reasons why the numbers have come down. And so once I start work, when I'm giving the nod, I'll look into it and make sure that at the end of the day, Ghana is the winner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Yes. My final question. That's a brilliant answer, I must say. Now, my constituency is South-Dine. We are quite rural. In Peki Agbate especially, we had an agro scheme called the Agbate Farm System. It's in a deplorable state now. That's why I'm happy the agro business has been added to your ministry by way of policy initiatives. Will you consider reviving some of these state-sponsored agro-based farms, like Peki Agbate farms, Beve Agric farm, and Kwadaso, Nkranza, and all that? My brother has provided some, especially where support for operating such agro-based businesses are very key to reviving and promoting activities in the rural areas to prevent the rural-urban influx of our youth, and also, as it were, to give oxygen to the 24-hour economy programs. Would you consider doing that for us? I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. These are some of
These are some of the programs that I can say yes before I start work, when I'm giving the nod. Because already the Feed the Industry project is there. And especially with these farms that have large tracts of land, they are good to go and they can fill in easily because you are interested in commercial contract farming. And if the facility is there, revamping it shouldn't be a problem at all. I thank you.
Chairman, thank you very much. That will be all for the nominee for me.
Thank you very much. We move to the turn of Honorable Ranking Member.
Chairman, I wish the nominee well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now give the floor. Order. Order. I now give the floor to Honorable Ricket Hagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, Mrs. Elizabeth Ufuso-Ajare, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Looking at your CV, your experience and background, I know you will do well at the ministry. May God bless you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable members. For the Minister Designate for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, the following guests are seated to give her moral support. Nana Kweku Jan Broko II, Ofuman Traditional Council. Ofuma Traditional Council. Nana Yebua Kokwa III, Auruwahini and Jasehini of the Chima Traditional Council. Nana Fosu Opoku Diabo II, Kwasi Hini and Maurehini of the Chima Traditional Council. Maurehini. Very well, very well. I will base it on your pronunciation and move on. 4. Nana Kwesi Konedu, Ayasu Hini. 5. Nana Kwesi Chui Brimpong II, Masidan Hini. Nana Yebua Ameyao II, Timponim Hini. Nana Yebua Ameyao Kokoroko Hini. Nana Intim Abua Tuaboure Tuabodom Manhini, Tuobodom Manhini, Adontihini, Techiman Traditional Council. Dr. Lawrence Ofosu-Ajare, husband of the nominee. Most Reverend Father Pius Frimpong, Our Lady of Calvary Grotto, Techiman. Justice Dennis Ajay, Justice of the Court of Appeal. Lawyer Kwame Osu Secretary, President, Ashanti Regional Bar Association. siblings of the nominee, Chairman Abubakar Sadiq, and Techiman North Constituency Executives. Honorable Annie Osei Okra, Mr. Agolozo, former NDC Chairman, the representative of GUTA and representative of Association of Ghana Industries. You are welcome.
Okay. Elizabeth, extend my warmest regards to my Lord AJ Dennis AJJA. Extend my warmest regards to him.
Thank you, Leader.
I know he's here, but I'm saying extend your warmest regards.
Exactly what
not
I'm
for
going
the
to
records.
do. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll do exactly that.
Your application granted. Extend my warmest regards to him.
Okay, now we know. The leader is on record by saying not for the record. Our revered guests, you are most welcome. Nominee, we thank you very much for attending upon the committee and answering the questions in a very composed manner. Surely, we'll communicate from the committee's point of view to you. Thank you. You will surely hear from us. You are hereby discharged.
I thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
Now, members, we'll take a break and shortly come back.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the truck and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable. GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts. I
prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production, you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the truck and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with this EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.